Hey, welcome back to Brands Investors Love. I'm Mark Stoiber, and I am very privileged today to be speaking with Raja Skogland out of Norway. And if I look a little bit tired, it's because it's extremely early here in Canada and it's late afternoon in Norway. So I really appreciate you making the time. This is the first call that I've done with someone that far away in time zones. Thank you so much for making the time for me.
Thank you for having me and thank you for waking up so early for me. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry.
Well, the truth is I always wake up early, but I'm not expected to look good early. So I don't know if I've
You look great.
accomplished that or not. Usually it's just sitting doing social media on my phone. Now, Ryan, I met you through LinkedIn because I'm connected with a bunch of investors, and you have a wonderful sort of pedigree. You have a very distinguished academic background. You are a founder, an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
You are an advisor to VCs. You are an investor. You are an advisor to startups who are just
Yeah.
out of the garage. You're also an advisor to startups who are post revenue.
Yes.
That's a lot of stuff. Did I
And
miss any?
scale ups.
And scale ups? Yes. So did I miss anything?
No, I think we're good.
So
Yeah.
tell me just a little bit about your background so we can get a perspective on how does somebody
Mm.
arrive at being such a Renaissance woman, doing
Mm.
so many different things in this business.
Well, I think I think at the core, I'm a community builder. So I'm exposed to different opportunities.
Mhm.
I also do have a little bit of ADHD, so my brain does need a lot of stimulation. So you get the combination between someone who loves people and ADHD. So it means that every opportunity that comes my way, I assess it and I jump on it. So this is how actually everything started. I used to work in private banking in Switzerland. That's where I grew up. I'm
You're
Swiss
in
Moroccan.
Geneva, right?
Exactly. And to be honest, so great opportunities in banking and so on, title and everything that goes with it. But it was not enough intellectually stimulating for me. So I jumped into academia, and that was not hands-on enough for me. So I ventured into the startup world. I started as a community builder, hosting my own networking event, simply to connect with people, understand how they start a business, because I was really passionate about, curious about the entrepreneurial world and
Mhm.
startups. I started to hear at that time, it was 15 years ago. Already, I was a big fan of Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. And I was reading about these big up and coming, figures. So got inspired and decided to venture into that space. As mentioned, I started as a community builder, hosting monthly networking events for founders. Very quickly went within 9 months to 300 plus founders at my events. So, my network exploded here in Norway when I started that. And yeah, I forgot to say,
Hold
I
on.
arrived. Yeah, I know, we're going fast.
Stop. How did you do that? I-
Exactly right. So
how did I mean everybody dreams. I dream of having people show up at events. I'm too scared to organize an event
requires
because
a
I
bit
think
of
it's going to be
craziness.
me and my
I'll
wife showing
yeah,
up, you know. How'd
I
you do it?
know. I'll break it down for you. So I came to Norway and I told my husband, listen, I'm not going to get a job. I'm not going back to banking. So give me 1 year to 18 months. I'm going to be living off my savings and I want to go out there, meet founders and start my own business.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, how do I meet people here? I don't speak the language. I just arrived in Norway. I don't have any network. I don't know how to start a business. What do I do? Really an aha moment.
Hmm.
I thought, okay, you know what? I love events. I've been going to events in Geneva. Let me host my own networking events for founders. I'm going to create a Facebook page. I called it Drink Entrepreneurs Oslo. Straightforward, basic, stupid. Six, it's, Drink Entrepreneurs Oslo. The Facebook page is still live, 1,000 plus likes from that time, from 2015, 2016. And I started to share it on Facebook groups. And I did for expats, for business owners, whatever relevant Facebook group I found there, I shared and engaged and contacted the admins and invited them.
Hmm.
So I was just looking for people desperate to make new friends. I was expecting 5 people to attend my events. No, 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 no. I just could see the number of people joining.
Hmm.
And 70 plus showed up, 100 plus were registered. And this is how it started. And because I thought, why not do this monthly? I wrote it on my Facebook page. So people at my event said, oh, this is amazing. I'm so happy to meet other people like me, founders, and meet a co-founder maybe, or a lawyer. And when is the next event? I said, well, apparently it's next month. So see you next month. I will post the venue, just like I will share it with you. Just go on the page and show up at the event. So 9 months later, we had 300 people plus. I started to sell, on Eventbrite and so on, to track exactly, collect emails. This is how it started. So you get exposed to a lot of opportunities. You start connecting people, connecting the dots. From there, I decided to move that online. Long story short, so it was a startup I tried, failed because I had no clue really how to build a startup and fundraise and so on. 9 years ago, started to look for investors too late. Everything that can go wrong went wrong. Okay. However, 6 months later, Danske Bank came to me because they heard about the brand. They heard about the personal brand that I had been
The
building.
bank came to you.
Yeah, Danske Bank, the Danish bank. Because one, it's all about the network. Because one of their advisors was attending my events. So when he knew about what I was working on, he basically just himself connected the dots, and they were looking for someone to launch a job platform for startups to recruit talent in Norway. So he connected us, and like basically 30 minutes after meeting Danske Bank, we're like, okay, deal, done deal. Okay, I'm going to launch the platform via my company. So finally, I get really the entrepreneurial experience. Plus, it's fully funded by the bank. So I had money to do ads, recruit, the independence as well with my company, to do that via my company. So, and I scaled it in Norway. We were in Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Northern Ireland. So I also got the experience to scale something not only in the country, but collaborate with other people in other countries to build. Basically today, because it got acquired also, today it's the only job platform for startups to recruit talent. It's number one.
And this wasn't investment. This was debt finance. They gave you the money. They didn't invest in. They didn't
That
own
was
the
fully
company.
funded. They owned it. They owned it.
Okay.
So what I owned was my management and consulting company that I started, which later, so I left that project after 2 years. When it became, as a marketplace, became very operational, big. I learned everything I had to learn, and I like to learn. Otherwise, my brain is not stimulated, and I have to go. That's how my brain works. So I left. I started an online accelerator because I saw that there is also a need for founders to learn online from other experts. Started that, run it for 2 years, found a buyer, got acquired, joined the company that acquired it, became the CEO. And so, yeah, it's been like this every 2 years, very, growing
Now,
quite fast. And
you're full of energy, but you also burnt out.
oh yeah, that's why I am full of,
Yeah.
yeah, I burned out a few times already when I was in private banking.
Yeah.
Then when I was running, this first startup, where everything went wrong. And I burned out also in the middle of COVID. Yeah. When I
That I hear
became a
all the time.
CEO.
When I
Yeah.
talk to people that I know now, everybody just seems sad and they seem tired.
Yeah.
And, I think that those are both symptoms of low-level depression and burnout. And it's funny because it's become a real thing. When I was
Yeah.
younger, you didn't hear about that stuff,
Strange. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
also
Maybe people.
often I also wonder too. I was on LinkedIn this morning, as I am every morning, and saw a post about David Abbott, a founder, one of the big giants of British advertising, said, "Shit that arrives at the speed of light is still shit." And the acceleration doesn't lead to higher quality. And it seems that we're on this path where we're accelerating. And why? Well, nobody really bothers to ask
Yeah.
because everybody else is, and that's kind of not a very good reason. And I think it leads to a
I,
lot of tired, sad people.
I agree. And actually, regularly in my company right now,
Hmm.
we I could talk a lot about like
Yeah.
episodes, how we restructured, pivoted to avoid burnout and so
Mm.
on. And I'm very public on LinkedIn about
Yeah.
everything that goes that I've experienced and how I manage my company and how I help others. What I can say is that my advisors right now, who also work with some of our clients, they're my advisors as well. They're experienced founders who had multiple exits. And they often tell me, Raya, slow down,
Hmm.
slow down. It, I know you want to, because we're impatient as founders, as a
Uh-huh.
CEO. Slow down, scale down. This is what I also advise founders I work with, because it's easier to look at it from the outside. But when we are in it, we are impatient. We want things to happen. We see we're running out of money. However, sometimes scaling down is necessary to focus, because we need to be focused on one track, niche, one target
Hmm.
audience, to be able to build the right foundation. And also, when my advisors tell me slow down, they want to remind me that it takes 15 years to build a company.
You
It's
know
not.
what? I blame our culture. I blame our media because it
Yeah.
wasn't that long ago when you'd read a business magazine and it's all the top 30 under 30, the Theranos
Hmm.
founder, the Sam
I was
Bankman-Fried,
going, yeah,
and you're like,
I was going to say most of them are scammers. Sorry,
yeah,
many, not most of them, many of them. So these,
many of them. But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
that lure where you go, I want to achieve this goal that everybody set up for
mm,
me,
yeah,
and I'm going to go so hard, I can't do it. I got to scam. Just cut a few corners, cut a few corners,
mhm,
like that young lady founder who created a company that was reaching out to students, and she padded her lists of
yeah,
students, and then
yes,
sold the whole thing to an
yes,
to a bank, to a merchant bank,
yes,
and you're like,
exactly. Yeah,
but I can't really blame her. I mean, she saw what was she thought was expected of her, and so she said the only way I can get that is to.
yeah, yes.
Oh.
We want everything quickly, quick
Okay,
gratification.
speaking of quickly, I set
Yeah,
myself the mandate that this is going to be
50
a
minutes.
15-minute podcast. It's not going to be that, but
Yes.
I want to keep it
Yes.
short-ish so that the folks who watch can watch and get on with their day. And I want to
Mm,
hit on the extremely important
mm,
point that you and I were going to talk on. Product-led companies versus brand-led companies. For folks who aren't familiar with those terms, most founders, if not all founders, launch a product or a service, but it's a thing. And they work on that thing and they hone that thing and they make that thing great and they get product market fit with that thing and they go to market with that thing. And then in my experience, and one of the reasons I started Brands Investors Love is that they market to early adopters who love technology, who love newness, and then they run up into that bump
mm.
in the adoption curve. The mainstream is here. That's where all the people are, and they keep hitting against it. And that's why I advocate the mainstream wants trust and proof and reliability, and that's what comes with a brand. Now, what's your perspective on this? Working with both startups out of the garage,
Mm.
established startups, and startups that are scaling rapidly.
I would add another one here. I would say audience-led companies. And with audience comes the brand. So the
Mm-hmm.
audience is helping you build your brand, and you build your brand with your audience. So if I would pick as an investor, I would go. I'm not very attracted to product led companies. That's my profile. Some investors go for the product.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I find it very risky. To me, anybody almost, sorry if I'm hurting some people listening to us and their feelings, but almost anyone can build a product. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you put great guys on it, tech guys, tech people, tech women. They can build a platform. Now, how can you build an audience? Nowadays, it seems more difficult to build an audience because
Mm-hmm.
you're competing against a lot of thought leaders, a lot of companies, and everybody's understanding that you need to be out there. You need now clients. I have this in my clients that I coach on LinkedIn, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm asking them, so why actually did you buy this program with me?
Mm-hmm.
And some of them, many tell me, It's because when we are selling to clients, to corporates or companies, they end up going on our LinkedIn and looking for what kind of content we put out there, who we are. They want to connect with us online. They want to assess us online before buying from us. So if I'm more visible on LinkedIn, for example, and my competitor is not, the client would go with me if they don't know which one to go for.
You know,
So
I've never even thought of it that way, but that's what I intuitively do. When I start with
exactly.
founders, they're building a great product and they talk product, 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 product. And you go, well, do you have any people who love you a lot? That's my first question. And I talk to them and I say, what do you love about them? Usually it's something very different than what the founder thought. And that's where I start building the company. And I go, I'm just going to get all the people who love you to love you more and tell other people. But that's
Mm,
exactly what you just said. I never even thought of it that way, but it makes so
yeah.
much sense.
So you mentioned product-led company or brand-led company. So I would say audience-led companies,
Hmm.
which means that there is a strong brand that is in the making,
Hmm.
in co-creation with the audience, building in public, getting the input from the audience. And here you're building a brand that is trust-based, authentic, credible,
Hmm.
which is very different from the fake things, bullshit that we see online. Fake news, everything is fake. We start to really wonder, who can we trust? So the
Hmm.
more founders founders should be the marketeers nowadays. Even so, I'm thinking again about one of my clients who's a tech genius, okay,
Hmm.
AI engineer, company with 70 plus employees and 100 plus clients all around the world.
Hmm.
He's now learning the skills of social media to manage his marketing. And I find that it's this is this shows the importance of founders today, even if they have a tech background, that they need to understand that they have to build a relationship online with their client, with their audience, to gain that trust and create a brand that is different from the brands we used to see, like Coca-Cola. Who knows who's behind Coca-Cola, you know? So can I really trust a brand? No, I want to trust people. In a world where we don't know who to trust anymore, we need to go back to basics. To
I
who
just,
are you?
this is unbelievable. It's so cool the way you put this, because the what I always struggle with is in a conversation, they go, yeah, well, we've got this product and this is what people buy. Brand, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Mr. Clean, and they go, I don't, that's going to take 100 years and
Mhm.
it looks like bullshit. And I go, no, you don't get it, but you just expressed what it is. It is, I am like you, Steve Jobs. I want to be like
Exactly.
Steve Jobs. He wants to be creative. I want to be creative. I like Steve Jobs. He can sell me pretty much anything. That's not a product, that's a brand. I'm buying into the trust of a person. And that's what
Yes.
you just talked about, that they have to take control of their social media. They have to put themselves out there. They have to make it, if you're like me, we'll probably get along. And that's a
Yeah.
brand.
Exactly. And it is not easy to do, but it's not impossible. They
Hmm.
can learn, they can practice. It's like a muscle. The more you practice, the easier it gets. And same thing. If you stop posting, if you stop engaging, then it becomes harder for you to come back. But you only getting things out of it. You know, when you put yourself out there on LinkedIn and creating content, and I'm
Hmm.
talking about LinkedIn because to me it's LinkedIn and then Twitter. It's these are the best B2B uh, tools available
Hmm.
to do sales and build a community, and even B2C. So this morning I was looking at a case where this is, how do you say this in English? In French, it's plombier. It's these people who fix your sink and so on.
Hmm. Yeah,
How do you call
repairman.
them? Yeah,
Repairman.
repairman. Let's say. Yeah, this person, a French repairman, went viral on LinkedIn because there are nobody like him on LinkedIn. Okay, selling his services.
I love it.
It's not only for SaaS. It's an opportunity for anyone to stand out and be exposed to millions of people. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't we do that? It's not difficult. It's hard to start, but we can learn.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why we don't do it. And I think this, I like to look at myself, sort of try to step back and look at myself as an outsider looking in.
Yeah.
And I'm on LinkedIn all the time. And I believe I have my coffee cup rule, which is 1 cup of coffee every morning, 3 likes, 3 comments, and try to repost something in a new way to add a perspective to it. And if I'm lucky, meet a couple of interesting people along the way. I do it every day. And people say, well, what does it give you? And I go, I don't know. But I believe that people, they say, wow, I see you all over LinkedIn. And I go, what does that mean? Is
Exactly.
that a good thing or a bad thing? And I think you summarized it really well. If your brand is, they can look at you and see this complex, fully formed person that they like or they don't like. And if they like you, then they'll go, maybe I'll work with them.
Yes, exactly. And this is also the greatest way to get inbound. You
Hmm.
sit behind your computer, you create content regularly, and
Hmm.
you get opportunities come your way, whether it's users, clients, investors. It's so important for people, for founders who plan to fundraise.
Hmm.
Be visible, advisors, public, engagement, speaking opportunities, so much come your way, and it sounds so easy actually that maybe people don't believe in it. They're like, oh no, I can't believe that people come to you. Yeah, they do.
You know,
I,
it's easy. But when I work with founders, what I find is that they all have what I call founder's disease or entrepreneur's disease, where they look at something, they grab it, they try it, they don't fully try it, and it doesn't work, and they throw it away.
mm,
So everybody I go to, I open a closet and I see all these tools fall out of the closet that they've all bought, they've all invested in. Nothing's worked. They're very frustrated. And I believe the hard part, it is easy to do LinkedIn. It's hard to do LinkedIn every day for 1 cup of
consistently. Yes.
coffee every
Mm,
single day for the rest
yeah.
of your life. And that's where I think the impatient ones, like me,
Mm.
we go, oh, it's not working, but it does
It,
work.
it does work. What I tell the founders and professionals I coach on how to build their brand on LinkedIn is that they need to mark their calendar. They need to book time
Hmm.
from 9 to 11 every
Hmm.
day. So there is from 9 to this they would start with that. Then it can be from 9 to 9:30. Then it can be 15 minutes on the spot. They start to create content, but they need to put time, allocate time in the calendar every day to
It's a
create
habit.
content and engage. It's a habit, exactly.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a habit. You get used to it and you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah. Raja, wait a minute. I'm going to clarify this. Before we had this conversation recorded,
Yes,
you and I talked about your name, and I just pronounced your name the way it should be pronounced, Raja.
exactly. Yeah.
And
In the Nordics, they say Raya because
in the Nordics, they say Raya. So, okay, so everybody gets both. How can
exactly.
folks get a hold of you? I think I've already answered that. I think you've already answered that question. Rajaskogland. It's all going to be in
Mm-hmm.
the show notes. I'm going to let people have your LinkedIn profile so they can connect
Mm-hmm.
with you. And
Exactly.
I want to thank you again. You've opened my mind up. And full disclosure, I kind of picked this topic for a selfish reason.
Mm.
Next week, I'm supposed to be on stage in front of 50 to 100 investors, and I am going to be talking about brand-led versus product-led companies.
Super.
And so you've given me some talking points, and I want to thank you for that.
Super. It's a pleasure. Happy
Awesome.
to help.
Thank you again.
Thank you.